has amenities and it has the financial backing behind it to be able to provide people with a level of service that the black-owned venues, they didn't have. The black-owned venues didn't have the type of support financially to even be able to compete with a trapeze. I have my own personal feelings about that. I mean, to me, it deals with the aspect of how we support each other as, you know, as people in general, black people in general. You know, when I was one of the people that was able to throw parties at Venus when it was white owned. And I was the only black promoter at Venus when it was white on, and it was like had white nights. I had the only black night at Venus when I first started doing my parties at Venus. So I would have it every third Saturday. ECA was doing their monthly party, and it was a theme party. You could go on my Facebook, and you could see some of the flyers from way back in 2008 where I was throwing parties at Venus. I was the only black promoter. I did that for a reason because people used to always say, well, why don't you throw parties at Trapeze? You know, black, man, you know, you're on top of the game. You need to be at Trapeze. I didn't want to throw parties at Trapeze because I felt like Trapeze was not catering to our community. At that particular time, the owners or the managers at that particular time, I just felt like it was a culture of, we'll accept these people, but we don't really want these people to be here. And I felt that. And that's my own personal, you know, I mean, I'm not going to sit up there and say that's what it was, but from what I was dealing with and the people that I was dealing with at Trapeze, I felt like that was the energy. And I felt like I'm not going to support a business that don't want to support my people. You want to take our money, but you don't want to support us. So I would have felt like I would have been a hypocrite to be just throwing a whole bunch of events over there. So I decided to work with Venus. And at that particular time, Venus was white owned and operated. And I had one night that they gave me in order to do what I wanted to do there, and I created a type of energy and a type of culture at Venus that I felt like more people of color would be receptive to. And it worked. It was very popular. It was a very popular night. It was the one night out of a month that it was probably 98% black people at Venus, whereas any other time it was probably maybe only 10% or 8% black people at Venus. You know, so...
Was it as trashed? Was it as bad looking as it was?
At the time that I was first going there, to me it was a nice looking venue. But as it pertains to Trapeze, it was never on the level of what Trapeze is. Never, even white owned or whatever, it was never on the level of a Trapeze. They actually shot a movie there. I think it was Twa 2 that they shot at Venus. Like I said, Little Wings at that time, the guy who owned Little Wings at that particular time was a guy named Charlie. R.I.P. to Charlie because he died. It was understood in the whole spectrum that it was probably Trapeze, then Venus, and then Little Wings at that time. And then after Vern took over Venus, it kind of switched off a little bit, where it became Trapeze, then Little Wings, and then Venus. And then it got to the point where, you know, really it's just Trapeze, in my opinion. I know Vernon, you know, he's a good guy. You know, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but for the most part, you know, he's a good guy. And I hate to see a business like that go, especially with it being black operated and owned or whatever. I hate to see that.
Well, that's the main reason why I began to promote there on Saturdays, because I knew he was closing. And I was like, well, if it's the only, you know, black operated one that's just standing, I think we should do whatever we can to keep it open. And that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, I mean, it had such a bad reputation when I got there before he renovated the place or could even afford to renovate the place is when I came. So, you know, when I saw it and the showers wasn't working and he had a horrible kind of buffet going on, and you know, it's just the way that it was. So it took a lot of us to put forth a lot of effort to you know, try to keep it open. So now that it's closed, I wonder who would be the next person to come up with one. Would that be you? Me and you could put our money together and start another one.
I hear to tell you that the concept of that would be beautiful. but one thing that I have learned is that when it comes to having a business that's primarily for our people, is that we have to get the support of our people, because we're not going to really get the support of any of the other cultures. And if we don't have the support of our people, we're not going to survive. And it's a sad thing, because there's so many systems in place to keep our people at each other and not supporting each other, that making a business that thrives off of needing our people to support us, it's like you're really, really gambling.
That's true.
And, you know, so me personally, I probably would never have a venue like a Venus just for my people. But, you know, I will continue to have events that are catered toward my culture. You know, it's open to everybody, you know, white, Hispanic. But our culture as black people, we have a certain swag about us. We have a certain way that we like to do things. We have certain sounds that we like. We have certain rhythms, and there's certain looks that we as a culture gravitate toward. And I will continue to do that. But at the same time, you know, I just couldn't see having an actual venue that only catered to my people, because I just hate to say it, we got a long way to go.
Well, I wasn't suggesting that we open a swingers club for black people. I was just saying, let's open a swingers club.
Okay.
But,
you know,
but
I put it like
I see what you're saying, because I mean, even when I walk in a black-owned business, the customer service is even different. The way that I'm handled is even different. So I see the difference in walking inside of a organization or a store or a restaurant that is owned by people who are not black, and I get the service that I want. And then I go into a black establishment and I'm treated like trash. And it could be, you know, when you're dealing with a whole bunch of people who aren't supporting you, you kind of behave a certain way. And that could be it. You know, I don't think a lot of black people support each other. And I think even with us just throwing parties in general, you know, it's very cliquish. If you go to this person's party, you can't go to this other person's party. And, you know, whoever beefing with who, it's like somebody always beefing with somebody or arguing with somebody. And I just...
Yeah.
How in the world is that supposed to stop? I mean, I just don't understand it. I've attempted myself to try to get people to get along, and even when I put people in an atmosphere or created an environment for people to say to sit down and talk to each other or be pleasant with each other, it's turned out horrible.
Well, I can honestly say it, like I said, in my experience that I've been dealing with it, it's like, as far as, I've been in some black-owned businesses that, for the most part, they conducted themselves right. They handled their business right. I've seen examples of that, so I know that it is possible. I have seen a lot of black-run establishments that did not they did not hold the weight to the standards that I felt like they should. I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know. And like you said, it could be because they're not getting the support and they just can do what they can do. I always used to joke with people. I said, well, shoot, if couples wanted to give me $80 to $150 to come to one of my parties, I'd be able to send a limousine to them. I ain't going to just have a buffet like trapeze. I'll send a limo to your house, come pick you up, feed you all night, and then send you back, if I was able to get that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that has to do with, you know, if you got the finances, you can elevate. But there's certain things that you just got to be able to do, like you said, with customer service and, you know, being pleasant and taking care of your customers. That has to be a part of it, regardless if you're getting the money or not, you know. But, you know, having these events that, like you said...
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay. So having these events where it's getting to be cliquish, and a lot of that, you know, that do affect your business because, like you said, if you get to the point where there's a whole bunch of clicks and you're not taking care of the clicks and the clicks don't support you, and now you don't have, you're not going to be able to stay afloat. Your business is not going to be able to sustain itself. So,
I mean, all this, I'm starting to think about the new people that's coming to the lifestyle. It's all about money anyway. I think a lot of the new promoters and the new people that are having swingers groups on Facebook, I think it's mainly about money, not fun or the culture.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of it is too. It's not. It's I don't like a lot of these newer promoters that, you know, the ones that at least speak to me. They, you know, they say, "Oh, I heard of you, Blakk, man. You're like a legend, blah blah blah." You know, and I kind of watch what they do, and you know, and my whole thing was I don't remember when they was, you know, back in my time when I was kind of really doing it. I don't remember them. So to me, they might have just came out of nowhere. Maybe they was around. I just, you know, maybe I just didn't know. But you know, people are going to do what they're going to do, and people are going to support what they're going to support. That's what it all comes down to. That's why I never looked at what other people did as far as their parties or what they had going on. I said, you know what, I'm just going to do what I got going on. And if I do it right, then I'll build my own following that'll rock with me. And that's how, you know, because I just came on the scene in 2007, but the urban lifestyle scene in Atlanta been going on way longer than that. You know, there's a few groups, one in particular, GA Party, the original Atlanta Grown and Sexy, which is one with Atlanta Grown and Sexy Affairs with Jake and T. They've been around probably for a decade, you know, definitely, you know, years before I came on the scene. I respect, you know, groups like that because of the fact that, you know, they held the culture down, you know, when it wasn't popular at all. To me, I was a part of maybe making it a little bit more popular because I had ties in the music industry and kind of like the culture was changing around the same time that I was doing my thing. So, you know, it's like as I was coming up, I was introducing it to a lot of the tastemakers in Atlanta at the time, and by me being in those certain studios and me inviting certain people to my parties, they're putting that into their art. Next thing you know, that transcends into, you know, like I said, into the realm of the music, and then the music and the culture, and now all of a sudden it becomes kind of cool to have the girl have a girlfriend, you know. But I was like a part of that evolution. I was a part of that. You know, I know that for a fact that I was a part of that. But at the same time, these were people that were doing it when it wasn't cool to do it, when it wasn't popular to have your girl have a girlfriend, when you was ostracized. They were doing it. So I got to respect them, you know. You know, they're still around. They still throw parties or whatever. And for the most part, they keep it to the culture, and I respect that. So, you know, people are going to do what they want to do. Hopefully some of these newer people, you know, they won't get turned off by what's going on. Maybe they can find a way to get to some of the more authentic aspects of the lifestyle. And like I said, I'm using my position to do that, especially with, you know, this show that I'm working on. It'll be a way to introduce it to a larger audience, and I'll take it upon my responsibility to make sure that if I have an event, it's going to be done right.
From behind, for the grind down, you shook it, gripping it in the grind, blowing my mind. Pussy pumping it all the time, waxing my ass. Bet you give it a better shine, taxing the last time we fucked each other top in the past. When you tended those